be throwing an email his way.
Oh, yeah, I got it, yeah.
He caught me at church on Wednesday night.
I did.
Check your email.
Okay.
I will.
Respond.
Yep. Go and check your email, Billy. Will do.
Yeah, he left Laura off. I'm like, did he send it to you too?
I got it.
Because he is my
Sorry.
son.
Said what?
He's on the data center club or whatever, and he sent the council email just basically asking like what are our concerns that we want them to research, and like you weren't on the original one, so I'm like you missed one of our councilmen. Make sure you forwarded it on. So if you didn't get it, let me know. And I'll get it.
Oh, yeah, you did. I have to go in there and I have to manually refresh, and apparently I missed a few emails. I don't know why one will, even though they're all connected, one will update and the other ones won't.
Yeah, unless I go into the mailbox and then press it.
Yep, actually refresh.
Mine just-
Why- One will do fine. Not one, the one that does fine is my old email. Oh, it's on the black market, so every email lands in there. Then I started new emails, so that I still have to watch over it, but it's the only one that refreshes automatically.
Yeah.
What do you do?
Yep.
At least I can access it
What's the?
and access as needed.
What's like a wash? Well, €1 sir. Yeah. It's team, yeah, it's a real team format. Do you have any additions or amendments? Yes, we do have an addition. It's a secret though.
The Pinky Promise Club or what?
It's hard to do that when it's being live streamed.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, good evening, everyone. Are there any additions to the agenda?
Mayor, one late addition from this afternoon, we received a retirement notice, resignation notice from the librarians. We'll add that under, let's do consent 3.9.
Okay. So under consent 3.9, resignation or retirement?
Retirement, yeah.
Retirement. Retirement notice, okay. All right, I'll look for a motion to approve the agenda as amended.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. All right, motion carries. Lauren, did you vote on that?
I didn't. I was not quick enough to get to my mute.
Okay.
I vote in favor.
Okay, sounds good.
Aye.
I didn't know if Rob, drowned you out or what, so, okay. Sounds good. On to visitors to be heard. Any visitors to be heard this evening, come on up to the podium. All right, seeing that there's none, we'll move on to the consent agenda. Nate, anything you'd like to draw attention to on this?
Mayor and council, a few notes. 3.5, 26 Slurry Seal Project Contract Award through the City of Sioux Falls that's been made available. Came in slightly under what we had budgeted for the year, so we're feeling pretty good about that. There will be further changes, I think, to that slurry seal map for this year's project, but we'll get to that at a later date. We have a garbage hauler license, commercial garbage hauler license in your agenda. That is from valet garbage. The applicant is here, if you do want to hear from him, if not, we do have this on consent agenda. Item 3.7, police equipment purchase, so this is the equipment for the 2026 Interceptor. That was, the purchase of the Interceptor was approved last meeting, this is the equipment for that, the radio equipment, excuse me. Wastewater wastewater treatment plant diffuser project, which came in slightly over budget. So we wanted that in front of you to get your approval, moving forward on that. Item 3.9, which was just added, is a part-time librarian retirement. Marlene Adams announced this afternoon that she's going to be retiring. So I didn't have enough time to look up how long Marlene's been with us, but it's been a long time. Obviously an important member of our City of Lennox family.
On our accounting software, she's employee number 1.
Employee number 1, yes.
Really?
I don't know that I've mentioned this to any of you, but Ron and Marlene used to live in Sioux Center, where I'm from. We're actually on the farm when Shauna's mom had to go to the hospital to give birth to Shauna.
Wow.
A lot of long history there, so.
Well, she's been quite an asset to our library team and our community.
Yeah.
It's a well-deserved retirement, and we're all wishing her the best in retirement.
Okay, discussion, question, comments from council.
I think since he's here, I'd like to hear from our new potential garbage.
Randy?
Randy, come on up.
Hear what you're all about.
You can introduce yourself and go from there.
Randy Weishaupt, retired last month from the car business to start a garbage business. Biggest thing that the wind blows all the time. We're going to offer a little bit of different setup with the valet service, give people an option so they don't have to bring their cans to the curb. You don't see the cans blowing down the street, the trash blowing around, so just give people a different option. So looking forward to the license and then moving on to the next step.
How soon would you start?
Just waiting on the city of Sioux Falls permit, and then I'll be able to, the goal is to start April 1st.
Okay.
Randy, I know you applied for your Lincoln County. You applied for your Lincoln County license. Do they have a timeline on that?
I have that.
Okay.
And I have the Harrisburg, you guys tonight hopefully, and then city tomorrow.
Okay.
That's amazing, local option.
Yeah.
Any other questions for Randy?
Are you using the same size dump trucks that the
I got it.
competition's currently using?
No, that was the other thing that, again, the thing that I don't like is they got a 2-axle truck, I understand it, pulls out of my driveway all the time, and then I got a nice approach to take care of. We have a small 8-yard truck, smaller truck, lighter loads, easier on the streets. Not as efficient, of course, but that's kind of what we want, it's kind of our niche that we're working.
Thank you, Randy, that's always my concern.
Yeah.
There's more truck traffic that,
No, it's just a little baby.
thank you.
Other questions for Randy? All right.
Thank you guys, appreciate it.
Thank you.
Update from Audra, 7.5 years for Marlene.
Okay. Other discussion for the consent agenda?
Mitch, you've got an update for us on the base flood elevation study contained in your packet. Just wanted to have you speak to that, please.
Yeah, so currently, we've done our surveyor work along there, we brought that back, and we're in kind of a modeling process. It's a pretty large model for, every time we run it, it takes 5 days to process on a computer. So,
What kind of computer is it?
it's a powerful one, believe it or not.
Commodore 64?
So that's kind of the stage we're in right now, as we make tweaks, we let it run, come back to it, make some more tweaks, and we let it run. So we're hoping by the end of the month that we'll have something that we can start to share a little bit and see what the results are. From there, we'll type up a report and a study, and then we'll start looking at the process of submitting to FEMA.
Yeah.
Good deal, thank you.
Excellent.
On the, you pointed out the slurry seal award, and I don't recall this name. Have we used them before?
They were last year's.
They were last year, okay, it's just me. Very good. Thank you. I thought they did a very good job last year.
I think we probably had them 4 or 5 years ago,
Yeah.
if I remember right.
Yeah, there was one a couple of years ago that we had to come back and do warranty work and whatnot, and I was not thinking this was that, so.
Motion to approve the consent agenda.
Okay, we have a motion, do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, we'll do roll call this evening. Teasy,
Aye.
Welch,
Aye.
Swear,
Aye.
Vendrill,
Aye.
Doherty,
Aye.
and Peterson.
Aye.
Okay, motion does carry. Thank you. On to old business, 4.1 discretionary formula.
Mayor and council, this is the same ordinance that was on your agenda for last meeting, where you approved the first reading of the ordinance. There have been no changes since that reading, and recommend a motion to approve the second reading.
So moved.
Okay.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing if there's none, we'll go ahead and vote. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay, motion does carry. On to 4.2 ordinance 666 septic systems.
Mayor and council, same ordinance, up for first reading this time, was tabled at the February 23 meeting, for additional information. That information has been obtained, and that was on, what it would cost to extend or to connect the current, septic system that we know of to the sewer main once that day comes. Utility Superintendent Kyle Remike put that around the $7,000 to $15,000 range. For a new system, and then to connect in the $5,000 to $11,000 range. Those are rough estimates, haven't been confirmed with anybody, but those are as recent as we can get. And I did add one last note here that the language is consistent with state statute, which requires a connection to public sewers when available.
We did table this, so we'll have to take it from the table, and then then we'll move forward with that motion. So do I have a motion to take it from the table?
So, second.
Okay, motion is second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Okay. Now, this is a motion here that is current, so any discussion on this motion?
No, that clears it up. I was just concerned with, incurring, much more cost to force them into that, and this kind of shows it's probably gonna be cheaper that route anyway, so I'm comfortable with it myself.
Just syntax, you've got ordinance 66 on the ordinance. Both pages
Oh,
1
the
and
actual
2.
ordinance, okay. Yeah, we can update that, thank you.
Thank you. Motion to approve first reading of ordinance 666.
Second.
Second.
Okay, motion is second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. On to old business 4.3 ordinance 667 city administrator.
Mayor and council, this was also tabled at the February 23 meeting. I have put together a bit of a longer memo here on the 3 questions, that the council had posed. What is home rule and how does it operate in South Dakota? What is the difference between city administrator and city manager? And last but not least, what is the process for adopting those options? I won't read through the memo tonight. There are ample examples of city charters available in the packet, as well as information from South Dakota Code, South Dakota Constitution, and information from the National League of Cities on home rule and city manager.
Thank you. Again, we'll have to take this from the table too. So do I have a motion to take from the table?
So moved.
Okay, and a second?
Second.
There we go. All right, all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. All right. On to this here, discussion in regards to 4.3 agenda item. Lot of information.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
I would also be in favor of kind of referring this to a committee too, and so it's a lot to dig into unless someone's got.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of approaches you could take to this. I didn't read through every single example, but I read through several of them, and there's some interesting things, like I can point to things I didn't like in almost all of them.
Yep.
Like the mayor could veto, I think in Beersford, one of them, the mayor can veto.
I think Beersford and Fort Pierre, if I remember right.
Yeah. And the mayor votes in some cases and not.
Right.
And under the current, under our current form, the mayor does have a veto and a vote in case of a tie, and that's it.
Yep. So. I don't know, I think that's a good idea. I think there's definitely worth more discussion, Danny. And I think, yeah. And what are we actually trying to solve for other than the one scenario that, is there some other
Right.
points to that, so.
That's what I'm having a hard time finding,
Yeah.
is how this would benefit the community as a.
Right, and since that's got a public vote, educating the public would be difficult of like, why we want to do this, or what are we trying to solve? So at a
Right.
minimum, we gotta be very concise and clear of what this benefits us, and, I'm not so sure, it's, I don't know, I'm open to more discussion on it, but.
If there were a committee, my guess is we'd probably pull in some experts on this to give you some information. Pull in some of these other communities to tell you, this is kind of how it works, and so on and so forth. But I think you'd want to look at, the totality of this change.
Right.
There's got to be some benefit.
Right.
Yeah.
Beyond the obvious topic here tonight, right?
Yeah.
And there are some that you could point to, instead of doing it by delegation, you could do it by charter. You could formalize some things. But in my opinion, there needs to be clear, concrete examples of why those would be good things for people.
Yep.
Right, not just, well, we think it'd be kind of nice.
Right, yeah,
So.
I'm on the same page. What do you guys?
In the meantime, do we still need to just revise our ordinance so that we're not conflicting with codified law for the state?
I'd probably ask Brett that question. My gut reaction is, well, it doesn't change codified law.
Right.
It doesn't change the AG's opinion. But at the same time, 6 of one, half dozen of the other, I suppose, right? I don't know.
Being aware of what the law actually is and what the AG's opinion is, that's really trumps anything that we would do here anyway. So I don't know that doing it.
It supersedes our ordinance.
Correct, doing it another ordinance right now would be, I think, useless until we have an actual direction.
Yeah, it really just formalize what's in state code and what the AG has given us.
Right.
It doesn't, for practicality purposes, I don't know if that changes much.
Right.
I did mention last meeting too, the language in ordinance is sort of reflected in the employment agreement as well. I haven't brought that up for any changes. I don't think it.
That's why I was wondering, is there
matters,
something
but we
to
probably
clarify in the employment agreement that maybe gets us what we're looking for?
That could be. Yeah, I can talk to Brett and see if we can get something moving on that end too. Is that kind of direction.
That'd be the direction I'd prefer as
Yep.
opposed to creating a committee to discuss it further.
Yeah.
If we did a committee, I would say let's wait till we get through some of the other committee stuff right now, anyways, and then pick this up later. I didn't wanna add more to our plates right now, but I wanna give this the attention it needs, and just to think it through well. So, but I think that's fine to just put this down, talk to Brett some more, and, kind of, yeah, bring this back up a little later, I'd say, so.
Yeah. Okay.
So there's no action with this. We are on to any other final discussion too, just don't wanna move on too quick if someone else has something with this. Okay. On to new business, we're 5.1 preliminary plan of the Kuiper addition.
Mayor and council, the city has received an application for preliminary plan for an extension of industrial park named Cooper Edition. Preliminary plan is a result of quite a few years of discussion on the subject property. It's currently in agricultural production. Mitch has reviewed everything, and he'll kind of go through a little bit of an update here on what's included.
Okay, so does everybody have a copy of it on their screens?
Yeah.
Pull it up now.
So we're here tonight to review the preliminary subdivision plan for Cooper Edition, which is south of Wilson Road, the quarter of land there that is annexed currently. Planning and zoning reviewed this at their last meeting, so now the next step is they've made a recommendation to the council to approve with no conditions added to it. So if we open up to the sheet 2, I'll just walk through the plan. Sheet 2 is some general notes. You can see they've made some indications about meeting the city standards. Expectation for city reimbursements. There's a water main. If there's any water main oversizing, which is common policy that you have, that if we ask them to upsize some of those facilities, that the city would participate in the upsizing of them. Intentions for ownership and maintenance, basically all the public infrastructure that's part of this plan is to be dedicated for the city to ultimately maintain. So that includes the stormwater retention facilities, the sanitary sewer, the water mains, that would be part of this plan. Plans for wetland mitigation, there are no wetlands on the subject property. Impacts to floodplain, there are no floodplains on the subject property. Intent for open space contributions, you can see their description of the ordinance they have on file that requires them to dedicate 5% of the land towards open space and recreation. And so they're abiding by that ordinance. Number 7 is fire protection, just a statement that the site will comply with the International Fire Code. And then they do have a phasing plan later on in this middle. You go to sheet 3, this is the typical sections for the roadway systems that they're proposing. These all meet the city's minimum standards for industrial roads and for collector type roads. On the sheet 4 is an existing conditions. You can just see the property and what's adjacent to it. Sheet 5 is the layout of the street system and a preliminary lot and block plan. So you can see this is industrial zoning on this property that they're proposing. So larger lots, industrial roadways that are planned. You can see how they tie into the highway systems that are adjacent. You can see the area in green is what they are proposing their detention area is going to be, so a lot of their drainage will collect there and be detained before it's released downstream. There's also a greenway component that's built into the plan, which is part of the city's comp plan that they set aside some of that ground for, one for drainage and for recreation along there. So we envision that there will be no path along there. It acts as a good buffer too, being that this is industrial. It's a nice wide buffer, and plus there would be the South Main Street that would help buffer that area from maybe potentially residential on the other Part of the plan that was a condition was connectivity with shared walking paths. So we expect that there will be sidewalks along all these streets in there. And then with that, we required a connection to that Main Street section so that people would have a place to access, pedestrians could access to the west. We did this layout really, we wanted to try to keep because it's truck traffic coming in and out here, we really wanted to keep it localized to this area. So the access points are only along the highway systems. We tried to discourage any access going out to Minnesota, or Main Street, so that we can relieve the area by the school and Main Street that comes through there of the truck traffic as much as possible. Going to sheet 6 is just a zoomed in lot layout plan where you can see some more of the frontages and some more detail on the right-of-way widths. Lot 8 is their drainage plan. And here is their kind of first blush at where they anticipate storm sewer systems to be located. These will change as they finalize their engineering submittals, but this is kind of their first pass at it. Again, on sheet 9, you can see the area that will be their detention. So a lot of storm sewer will drain to that location where it will be detained.
Where was that at?
On sheet 9, the area, the lot titled Lot 4, Block 2.
Okay.
It's kind of that green shade.
Yep.
Sheet 10 is the start of their utility plan, their sanitary sewer and water main layouts. So the sewers ultimately planned in the street. So the sanitary sewer will collect any wastewater from the site. If you go to sheet 11, there's a lift station down in the southwest corner. Because this site drains north to south, they need a lift station downstream that will force it back to the city's collection system. The water main also is within the street sections. You can see a perimeter water main along the highway systems. That'll be probably those oversized lines. If we oversize them, those will be the ones that we do participate in. Sheet 12 is the street layout. So all the streets will be lit. You can get an idea of what that'll look like on these sheets. And sheet 14 is an access layout. And again, it just gives a little bit more detail on the roadways. You can see the sidewalks are identified on these sheets. They do have them labeled as 6 feet wide, the sidewalks on such as Dakota Street and Willow Street. The minimum is 5 feet, so I think that was an error. They intended to do 5-foot sidewalks. Main Street is required to be a 6-foot sidewalk, so that one's labeled correctly. I think the interior ones are just labeled incorrectly. And going to sheet 16 is their phasing plan. So you can see they're proposing to start with lot 1 and lot 2 of block 1, kind of that magenta shade on the north end. Part of phase 1 would be the construction of Spruce Street, which is the east-west street that's south, abutting Wilson Trailer. And then from there you can see their phase 2, 3, 4, 5. Those phases will require that lift station to be able to serve that area with sewer. I think if you read the notes on the right side, it does describe that lots 1 and 2, they are proposing to drain the sewer for those lots back to the current lift station that's just north of here on Wilson's property that the city maintains. There's enough capacity, I'm sure, to support a couple of lots there, but they can only utilize that lift station for those 2 lots before they just don't have enough elevation to be able to gravity this whole site back to that. Questions?
Just a question on like the phasing, does that, when we talk phasing, is that just the infrastructure, or is that actually buildings going up there?
It's the infrastructure largely. They might do, the earthwork might be the one thing that they might do more earthwork than just what they're showing in phase one, just because they might have to rob some dirt from one area to build up another area. But typically this would be, their first phase would be the buildings, would be the street components first and the infrastructure to serve those two lots. And then you'd see building permits get taken out.
Yeah. Great. Questions for Mitch on this?
Main Street is not connecting to Dakota, correct?
Correct.
Do you wanna maybe just give an update? I've heard your explanation, just to make it clear, though, what does the preliminary plan mean? It doesn't mean like this is the final design.
Right, so it's a planning document ultimately. We don't permit off of it. It's really to get your blessing on the general layout of where this developer's heading with their plans. Because the next step is then to develop the construction documents, do the grading plans, things that contractors will actually build off of and that the city will permit off of. Your subdivision regs, a preliminary plan, once it's approved and authorized, it expires, that authorization expires after 4 years, where they would have to come back and extend it if that's the case. But it is just a planning document at this stage. It might change a little bit, but it's really our guide as we start reviewing submittals to make sure that we're meeting the intentions that you guys set.
Access from the highway, is that already been approved by the state?
Those things will have to be permitted still.
Okay.
So they'll have to get, submit an application to the state for these permits. I don't expect that they'd have any trouble getting those applications because they meet their guidelines. But that is something that they will have to ultimately secure.
Okay.
During the planning and zoning meeting, I think we discussed, or it was discussed that the land west of Cooper's was going to be commercial potentially. It is currently zoned for industrial in the comp plan, correct? Or will be?
West would be residential.
West would be.
Is it residential? Okay.
East of this is more industrial.
East is, yes.
Commercial and industrial. So going east across the highway where the lumberyard, that area is, that would be commercial, going north along the highway. West, I'm forgetting the name of the trust, Bosman?
Osmond.
Yeah, that's all in the comp plan as residential.
As residential, okay.
Other questions, discussion? If not, I'll look for a motion to approve the preliminary plan.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, motion and a second, all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Okay, opposed, same sign. Okay, motion does carry. Thank you, Mitch. On to subdivision construction agreement, Nelson addition, this is under new business 5.2.
Mayor and council, we continue to work through the subdivision process with respect to the Nelson addition. The city's regulations require execution of a subdivision construction agreement prior to making improvements in a planned subdivision. It's typically submitted with the developer's engineering drawings, which have not yet been received for this project, but are anticipated in the next week or two. Once that happens, the developer would prefer to be able to move forward without waiting on the council meeting, the following council meeting for approval of the agreement. So the one in front of you tonight is our standard agreement. It's been reviewed by the city attorney. Several deviations from the language were requested by the developer, but denied by the city. If approved tonight, we're doing so pending approval of engineering submittals by the city engineer, and will not execute the agreement until that time. My motion, to be clear, is recommending a motion to approve the subdivision construction agreement pending approval of the engineering drawings. That way, there's no possibility for them to move forward without the drawings being approved by the city engineer.
we have public comment in reference to this tonight?
I just have a question, if I may.
Okay, I'm okay with that. You wanna come up?
Sure.
Ask, come on up.
You talk so fast, Nate. So the engineering submittals then, are you asking that that just gets approved by the city engineer then if there's not a second comment? Despite whatever it says?
So the engineering submittals are only approved by the city engineer.
Only approved, okay, so there's not, so then you're asking for there not to be a second public comment?
There would not be a second on anything like this, no.
Okay, that's
It just requires a single approval.
Okay,
So
That's
no,
fine.
no ordinance, no resolution.
that's my question. Okay, thank you.
Okay, discussion from the council.
What is the pushback against our standard agreement that we had to deny?
The requests?
Yeah.
Oof. Bear with me, it's gonna take a little bit of time to dig up here. Joint severability. They had some, they requested some changes on the authority of city engineer under section 9. So that's basically, you know, what are the conditions or site conditions that would make work unsafe or defective, that we would issue a stop work order or something along those lines. Appeals for those. Reinspection fees and costs incurred, so we can, if they repeatedly fail inspection, we can start charging those costs to them. We have to have staff will come back out to re-inspect. Some warranty language. Notice requirements for maintenance of improvements, transfer language. I mean, some stuff that really, you know, in our opinion, this is a standard agreement.
Right.
We're asking every developer to abide by these requirements. If we were to start granting changes to this, I think you're opening up
This can't
a
work.
wide, yeah,
So we are not deviating from our standard agreement.
correct.
There's no different language in this than there would be for anybody else.
No,
And we'll be consistent with that throughout.
correct.
This just keeps the ball rolling and protects us.
Yeah, it is, it's the same construction agreement you have on any other development. So that's, the language is actually in our subdivision, regulations, which we treat as an ordinance, and that it has the effect of an ordinance. So we don't have, in my opinion, an option to deviate from that.
And that includes safety on Cleveland, correct?
To,
Just kind of an overall responsibility. Like you said, just making sure that everything's,
Maintenance of traffic and the
Yeah.
premises,
yes.
23 in our,
yeah, that would most likely apply to the actual subdivision and not, let me pull up the agreement again here. And Mitch, if you know off the top of your head, please feel free to chime in. So the agreement should only apply to the improvements for which the developer is responsible. And so the only things they would be responsible for having to do with Cleveland would be the two connections, the two connection points.
The subdivision construction agreement is really there to lay out the responsibilities of that developer as he's building this project and building the infrastructure. It also lays out the responsibilities of how you're gonna accept the improvements that he builds. So like the sewer, the water mains, the things that you're gonna maintain. It lays out the acceptance process of that. It also requires them to post bonds so that, say something happens where he leaves the project, you have a third party there that you can pull in and help finish the project. There's those types of things built into it too. There's warranty securities built into there as well. So once the project's done, you've accepted the infrastructure, there's still a third party that is on the hook in case something goes wrong during the warranty process. It really is explaining that process of what he's gonna go through as he constructs these facilities and turns them over to you ultimately.
Does that kind of include like potential damage in construction of the surrounding area?
I'd say,
Like, for example, the entries, the entry points.
yep.
So that would be a part of the development, yeah.
Okay.
And then there's.
Like where Fourth is extended.
Yes.
And then the construction drawings get really attached to that agreement too, so that the construction drawings illustrate all the improvements that they're gonna make. You know, that's what I look through to make sure that the streets are being built to the proper elevation, and the sewers are being built the proper way. So that's basically an attachment to the subdivision.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so the construction agreement, and it's not as clear when the engineering drawings aren't with it. It's meant to protect the city and make sure that what is in the engineering drawings actually happens. And if it doesn't, then it has remedies in there for us.
Bless you.
Excuse me.
Other questions? Okay, if not, I'll look for a motion to approve subdivision construction agreement pending approval of engineering drawings.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Okay, motion does carry. Thank you. On to 5.3, we have DOC funds status.
Mayor and council, you recall that in 2025, you chose Security Bank to house the city's $10.5 million in DOC proceeds. That proposal was on a money market account at 4.15% interest, which drops to 3.15 in April. As that date nears, I'd appreciate discussion on whether you wish to, again, maximize that rate creation in the new RFP. I have communicated to the city attorney regarding the matter, and that's in your packets under executive content if you wish to review it. Additionally, our CD is up for renewal in April. Regardless of whether you decide to extend that RFP, I would encourage you to keep the CD, just roll that over, and continue that investment there.
Thanks, Nate. Discussion.
Seems like a no-brainer to me. What's the drawback to getting quotes?
Well, it is a process. It's a process for us to move money. I mean, and there's a process of actually moving it, and there's all the work that goes up to it, getting signatures from everybody, going through the loan, or the disclosures, and all the paperwork. Security has been a great partner for us.
Yep.
They are great to work with. We've utilized their facility several times and hope to continue doing so. I would hope that this doesn't reflect that relationship.
Yep, I agree. I know I personally have a money market account at 3.4% with way less leverage than this, so.
Right, I think there's a much more attractive rate available for
I
us.
think there's a little more meat in the bone there that
Yep.
you can get.
I'm trying to remember how that RFP worked beforehand. Do we know who was submitting certain rates, or?
We did not, well, we didn't know who was submitting what. We knew
Okay.
who was submitting. So we had issued it to all three local banks.
Yep.
And they all submitted a proposal to us
Okay.
that was unknown to each other until the time of the meeting, if I remember correctly.
Do we have any right to negotiate with security
I'm sure we could.
without opening it up, without the need to open it up?
I'm sure we could.
Did we opt out of that initially, not to let them essentially wage that war?
Not that I can recall.
What do you mean by wage?
Like, we didn't want them trying to one-up each other.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
I mean, we wanted to do it
and that's why we
fair.
kept it, confidential until the time of the meeting, if I remember right.
There was
We released
something
it the
happened
day.
at first where, I don't know
That
what
was,
bank
that
that
was
was.
the first time around.
Yeah,
Okay,
I'm not
yeah.
sure which one that was
Yeah.
either.
That was on the regular banking RFP,
Oh, was it?
yeah, where I think everything came out, and then all of a sudden everybody else had, oh, I got this other better offer that we could give them out.
Yeah. Okay.
So I think with any RFP, and I don't think we made this mistake on the second one, on the DOC one. The DOC one, give us your best final offer, there will be no changes after it's proposed.
and do we know what the CD rate that we're renewing at?
No, we can check, but
Said we can find out after it auto renews on April 4th.
Okay.
my guess is it's in that 3.5% to 4% range yet. I don't think much has changed in the last year on those.
I think they come down.
Much do we have in that one?
And then,
1.25, not including the interest we've got over a year.
Okay.
So probably closer to 1.3.
so is that updated then annually?
It's a 12-month CD. We could go longer, but your rate changes depending on length of time. Like we stuck with 1 year because we felt pretty confident that rate was pretty solid.
And then we weren't gonna be really touching into that money in a year's time.
We've got no reason
We've
to.
proven we need to talk a lot about it.
Yes, agreed.
And I don't know, even, I think that's an option too. Like if we don't need to access these funds, the DOC funds, in the next year, do you go ahead and park it in a CD or not? Right. We've already got a CD there, we just roll into.
Right, and it's conceivable that we wouldn't be touching that money for another year.
It is. Other than for the rebates, but we can float that without touching this stuff, I think.
Let's get the rates and look at it. I think you're gonna find that the CD isn't much different than the money market, but maybe I'm wrong.
With security specifically? Or
No,
all?
in general.
Just issue a new banking RFP.
I'm not necessarily,
We can go an informal route right now.
I think so. I think that's what I'd like to understand, is maybe with security, we see where they're at with, where do we, and we don't need a firm quote, like they should have a pretty good idea of what the CD rate's gonna be, and then what they can do in the money market. And
Okay.
maybe we can do a little research of if we think that's competitive or not. I mean, I agree, moving the money for 0.1% probably doesn't make sense. But
Right.
if it's
Right.
0.5%, I mean, it's
Might make
50
some
grand,
sense.
I mean, could do a lot of work for 50 grand.
Yeah, no doubt. In the meantime, if we could at least roll over the 1.3 that's in that CD.
Yeah.
That we would plan on keeping there anyway, if that's okay. I'd recommend a motion.
So that's your recommendation
Yeah,
for that?
and that's just for the CD,
Yeah.
that's 1.3, 1.2, 1.3 million.
Okay.
And then, yeah, so then let's understand, like, if we locked it in for a year, does that gain us an extra whatever? Then we can make, does it make sense or not? We don't think we're gonna need it for a year, but it's, having the flexibility maybe is worth a little bit, but.
Right. I'd like to know those numbers.
Okay, can do.
Motion to approve renewal of certificate of deposit at Security Bank.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Okay, all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign? All right, motion carries. On to 5.4, we have resolution 2026-3901 vacuum trailer purchase.
Mayor and Council, an item like this wouldn't typically come up under a resolution. What we're doing here is purchasing a vac trailer that was budgeted for this year, but comes in above the minimum bid requirements under state code. Kyle has proposed to purchase this through Sourcewell, which is a cooperative purchasing agency, which one part of state code exempts and the other just isn't quite as clear. So working with the city attorney, we figured the best way to make this happen was to do a resolution that explains the reasons why we believe it's exempt, which is laid out in that resolution, and then give Kyle the authority to go and purchase this. Kyle is here tonight to answer any questions. Price on said vac trailer. And Kyle, if you can remember the budgeted amount. So the price for the Midwest Underground's proposal was $90,945.
Yep, budgeted for 2026 was 90,000, so right in that ballpark.
That's total.
Yep, that's including the hot research box, which people I've talked to said they wish they would have got it if they did, so.
But now this doesn't include a boom, correct? Which would benefit us if we were doing sewers.
Our big limitation for sewer is head, so, I mean, if we have a sewer manhole that's 12 foot deep, a vac trailer's not gonna, it can't get that suction that high. That's when you see like the big hydro vac trucks, like the ones that we serve are jetting and stuff like that. This won't reach that far, but it'll get close.
Okay.
The real benefit to this is gonna be on the water service side with valves. And
So how are we doing it today?
we find a valve and.
No, well, that, if an emergency situation, typically in your intersections, you have a series of valves. If there's a main break, and this valve is inaccessible, we're going to the next one. And then potentially that next one goes to 3 other ones, because we're in a loop system.
And then you've got more people shut off.
Right. In the past, what we've done, if a valve needs to be accessed and it's not, we've hooked up 1.5 inch holes to a hydrant and flushed out the material, which is not good for undermining that valve. This piece of equipment can also, there's not many communities in the surrounding area that doesn't have one of these. And I think we get such a wide variety of uses for it. It's necessary for keeping our system maintained and improved.
Budgeted for 2026, and we're right on par with the number that we budgeted for.
Yep, I think just the legality of things of purchasing is.
Can you remind me, because I don't think I was part of the initial on this, why we decided to budget versus rent?
Sure, great. When you can rent, I mean, we have people right in T that we can rent from. It's just,
You don't have it at a
you don't have it
When you
yet,
need it.
right? And when you need it, you need it.
Mhm.
And you're on there, maybe it's rented out that day. And I think, getting into this maintenance program, we're gonna need it for more than just a week at a time. We're looking at months. And then to have it for, the life of this unit, I think it's beneficial for the city.
What is the lifespan on a machine like this?
I don't know that, but I have that answer, so I can look it up, but I think with well-maintained, I mean, it's a nice diesel cat engine, which, if you do the maintenance on it, you should be able to get some significant life, for sure.
The heater option, is that obviously wintertime, got iced up?
So it's typically used for when they have to hydro excavate with frost.
Okay.
I think that's the main reason for it, but I see benefits for cleaning equipment, cleaning stuff out at the wastewater plant where we don't have access to, power easily. I think that'll help out. And
Yes, sure.
for $7,000 extra, I think it's.
I think it makes sense. Questions for Kyle? Okay. Not, I'll look for a motion. What exactly are we calling this here?
Motion to approve the resolution.
Okay, motion to approve resolution, this 2026-3901 vacuum trailer purchase.
So moved.
Second.
So moved.
Got lots of affirmation here, all right. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. All right, thanks, Kyle. 5.5, Apogee service order, something like that.
Very colorful.
Apogee.
Your
practice didn't help you.
I was practicing.
Nice try.
I mean, when you're live, you gotta.
Apogee, who services our website and mobile app, has developed a new product extension that we've been considered to add onto our package. So it's an AI chatbot, which is pretty simple to add to the website. We've seen them on a lot of similar websites. Pretty much any service website you're going to be on today has one of these. The cost isn't a lot. It's $2,500, but it is an unbudgeted expense this year, and it's not something that we have to have right now. We did negotiate for this. There was a trial period that we would have to opt out of at the end if it's something that we want to try out. But I'd be just as happy moving forward and just including this in next year's budget.
How long was the trial period?
It would run through the end of the month.
Okay.
So we basically set March 30 for letting them know if we're going to continue or not.
What benefits would that carry?
Just a little easier for folks to find things that they're looking for on the website. So if you go on there now, you can use the search feature. And it's not perfect, nothing is. If you were to go onto the website and say, I'm looking for the minutes from this meeting, you wouldn't have to navigate through, 3 or 4 or 5 pages of the website. It would just take you straight to by a single click. So.
Yeah, that's interesting, if it makes it easier for folks to find information, I think that's a good thing, so. But
I never really use them, but I see the benefit.
they're becoming more and more popular.
Right.
Does it just, is it up right now then?
No,
Or
it's
not?
not on
Okay.
there, no.
I was just wondering what it looks like, like a little need help thing pop up in the bottom.
Like the little
corner.
paperclip guy that used to pop
Something
up.
like that, yeah.
And that would just be
Yeah.
on the app, correct?
No, it'd be on the website.
On the website?
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Did you get a chance to look at the analytics, how many people are visiting?
They sent us to Google something. Google Analytics or something.
Yep,
And it-
yeah. It's,
so Jess had worked on this for me, to try and get what those numbers were, and we had very little success with Apogee to get those numbers, which is a little concerning to me.
yeah.
You should be able to know how many web hits you're getting on a specific page.
Is there something Tech can help out with, figure out analytics a little bit better or no?
You know what, I could ask Chad to dig around a little bit.
It would just be, I don't know how many.
I can get how many times a document has been requested, like how many times this document's been opened, but not web hits.
Right.
Tech manages and maintains our website, right?
Correct.
They can look
No,
behind.
no. Apogee does our website.
And Apogee can't answer the question.
Correct. They do not track it.
Interesting.
Which is odd to me. I mean, any website that I've ever been on, here's how many minutes.
When you should know where they're going, where they're clicking through.
Yeah.
What's helpful, what's not helpful.
How long they spent looking at something, that's critical information.
I can get that from YouTube, I can get it from Facebook, I can get it from Instagram.
Right. And helpful stuff. Lauren, were you gonna say something?
Yeah, I was just gonna ask, is the chat bot available within our app as well, or is it just for the website?
Just the website.
Okay.
I would still recommend that residents download the City of Lennox app and turn on the notifications feature so you can stay in the loop with everything that's going on.
Every time he says that, I want to get the ding, 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 ding. The more you
The more
know.
you know.
There you go.
I like this feature, it just would have to make sense if we're having people hit the
Right.
website.
Right, need more information, it's not budgeted for this year. I don't wanna do a free trial without actually having it prepared to hike to our community. We got this thing to check out, give it a look, we got 2 weeks or 3 weeks.
Right. And we don't even know how many people are gonna use it.
Oh my God,
Yeah.
right,
So,
so,
in my opinion, this is something we can use to leverage that information.
there you go.
Good idea.
I'll make a motion to reject the proposal.
Second.
Well, we just don't, that's what your recommendation was, to reject.
You don't need to do it.
No, you don't. There's no motion to accept this quote, so it'll just die. Okay, motion to adjourn? Yeah, we don't have anything else, right? Yeah.
Second.
Okay, motion and second, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Okay, we are adjourned. Thanks, Lauren, Rob.
Thank you.
Have a good night, guys.